Welcome to the Caribbean Parenting Digital Show. This talk show is presented each week by host Alina Lewis and features guests from our Caribbean islands right here on this channel. As we discuss family finances, proverbial principles, child guidance, and academics at home, guests join in weekly to have conversations that give helpful tips about how to be a better parent. Like, subscribe, follow, and share as you tune in each week for new episodes of the Caribbean Parenting Digital Show. Hi, good evening, and welcome to the Caribbean Parenting Digital Show. On this platform, we have conversations that give helpful tips about how to be a better parent each day. Today, this evening, right here, we're going to be welcoming our guest, Genielle Hall-Blondell, as she shares with us about the importance of building confidence among teens. Now, of course, we can all agree, having confidence is going to help our teenagers to make safe, informed decisions. And we want them to have the ability to avoid people and the situations that aren't necessarily right for them and to find those that are. And of course, we know that if your child is confident, they're more likely to possibly be assertive, positive, engaged, and persistent. And today, we want to be able to learn more about how we could build relationships and our conversations to help develop these traits in our teens. So, of course, our guest today, as I mentioned, is Genielle Hall-Blondell, titled Queen of Teens. And she's titled this by teens that she's coached because she relates to them and she gets them to love who they are without approval. So this evening, we are excited to welcome Genielle to our show. So good evening, Genielle, and welcome. So happy to have you.
Hi, Alina. It's nice to
Hi.
be here. Thank you for such a warm welcome.
Yes, how are you today?
I'm really, really well. Thank you so much for
Awesome.
asking.
So, of course, for our digital show today, we're chatting with mommies, daddies, aunties, and uncles about the importance of building confidence among teens. Now, of course, I went through just a little snippet earlier, but I really want to turn the focus to you to be able to share with our viewing audience why it's so critically important to ensure that as parents, guardians, influencers, that we are building confidence among teens.
Sure thing. To be honest, confidence is a muscle, right, Alina?
Yes.
And the muscle needs to be flexed. So one of the things I teach my teens on my campus, it's something that we already have. We
Yes.
just need to build on the muscle. And that confidence muscle is going to get our teen to love themselves without permission from someone else, without getting validation, and basically without even comparison. So that muscle that we build every day, right? We don't get up with confidence, but it's in within us. So we have to nurture the confidence. And when a child, a teen, has confidence, they can make better decisions, and not just only better decisions, but integrity based decisions. They get to basically be their own leader rather than a follower. They get to know what they like and what they dislike. When you have confidence, you know who you are as a young lady or as a young man. And this is important that we must continue showing our teens how to use that confidence muscle. However, confidence doesn't, it, you have some days up and you're going to have some days down.
Yes, definitely. And so even as we build these muscles and we help teens to recognize they may not wake up feeling confident, but they can develop it over time. So even as you share with parents, how could they build in confidence as a fixture? Because some teens, it's something they have to develop, but so
Mm-hmm.
too with a lot of parents, they have to be able to develop the skills needed to build this confidence. So, can you take a moment to share on what are some of the initiatives that parents can take in order to build confidence among their teens?
Absolutely. And I'm really glad that you asked that question, because a lot of times my parents of teens come and say, "Oh, Janelle, my teen lacks confidence. My teen has a low self esteem." And, when we go through the reason why, uh, the parent is always very like surprised, right? So we ask, well, when the teen comes to you and they have a story, now a teen's importance doesn't have to do with a long-term view. So they're not really studying what they would want to become. They're not studying the academics. Their basic importance is their social media, their friends, their clothes, what's the latest song, what's going on in TikTok, what's their friends doing on Instagram. That's their importance, right? So when they come to you with their importance, we don't validate that, right? We break that down. We say, that what you worried about? Really? Out of everything else? Well, yes, because that is their world. So, one of the first things that I get our parents to do is to listen, and listen not to answer back, but listen with empathy. Listen with your eyes, listen with your body movement, listen with intent. If you have your phone, if you're distracted by the television, distracted by something else, it is so important that we give just that window space to our team when they come to us. So, listening with great body action is going to show to your teen, okay, mommy's listening, daddy's paying attention. Because we get the famous line, mommy, you're not listening. Mommy, you're not understanding. Why are we not understanding? Because one, we think that sometimes that when they come to us with something, we need to give them an answer. And not all the time is an answer that is required. They just want to be heard. And being heard is one of the most important things that a teen wants. And doing coaching over 200 teens for the last 2 years, two things that my teens say they really, really want from their parents is their attention and their love. So if we can get their attention by listening in to what they have to say, that's one of the very, very first and essential parenting skills that we need to have with our teens.
Now, Janelle, I think we can both recognize that you mentioned an important point of validating, the importance of validating our teens. But for so many parents, they too were not validated. That is
Mm-hmm.
not an instinctive part of their vocabulary. Some parents may desire to want to do this thing called validation you're talking about, but really don't know how to integrate it into who they are and how they relate to their teens. So, could you zoom in on that validation for a quick minute and help parents understand what are the very practical things they can do on a day to day basis that would bring validation and build up their teen?
Absolutely. Especially for our women, Alina, uh, we serve so much. We are giving beings. We nurture, we support, we provide. And when we do all of the above, the I, the me, is left behind. And we left behind or we left at the bottom. So when we have exerted all of our energy to everything and everybody else, we are depleted. And within that depletion, we get tired. We sometimes are very anxious. We are overwhelmed. And we forget what we want to do in life. So we settle. And once we settle, we seem to be like, okay, it's like mediocre. Not intentionally that we think that our behavior and how we live our life as parents is going to be a reflection onto our teens. Our teens are secretly, I would say, and silently looking on at the mom and at the dad to see how they live their life. They see how they will deal with challenges. They will see how they will deal with arguments, with people who don't agree with them. They will see how they handle their money. They will see how they handle their spirit self. So at the side, they're looking on because they are looking for ways to attach themselves to who, so they can be identified to who they are. So when we as the adult have exhausted everything else and we reach to that stage of I'm okay where I am and I'm okay here, and we look at our friend or we look at another family member and they are doing so much more, we say to ourselves, wow, I wonder if I can do much more. We start to ask questions. We start to say, what can I do?
Yeah.
What can I do? And then we start now to doubt and fear who we are as women. So we're looking now for the validation. So when I first started, Alina, my coaching, I did the teens first without the parents. And it took me a while to realize my teens kept coming in my campus. I was sending them home and they were coming back. And it was like going, like reversing. And I thought, what's going on? And then it took me a while to think, it's the home. We
Yeah.
need to start in the home. So
Yeah.
now in my campus, we do parents and the teens. So now that it's I'm working with you, you're the parent, you're the teen. It's that PTA at home. It's that unit that we have going.
Definitely. And you know what else I would love for you to touch on, Janelle? The
Mm,
idea of, I would call it love expressions. You talked about
mhm,
attention and love in the home. And,
mm.
for those of us who work with children, teens, whether through schools or youth groups otherwise, we know a lot of times we hear that conversation sometimes from some parents that say, well, I give you everything you need. Don't you have
Yes,
food? You have the clothes. You have a roof over your head. What more you want? That is love. But for the teen don't always receive those things as love. So could you take a moment to zoom in on what I'm calling in this conversation love expressions to help parents understand how they could connect in the giving and the receiving of love within the home as a way of building teen confidence because they're able to receive that love, not just because I think I'm giving it, but me giving it in a way that the teen can receive. Can you touch on that for a minute for us?
absolutely. Now, I call it basic, right? Food, shelter, clothes, education. They are basic requirements that parents must give their children, right? And that is required of. That's not supposed to be asked. That should be no question marks. That is something that we have to do because we get the chance to, right? And we have a saying, as moms, we say, I have to do this. So I have to take you to football and I have to send you to school and I have to feed you. We need to change the mindset of the word I have. And we're going to replace that I have with I get to. I get the chance to see you in football. I get the chance to provide you with an education. I get the chance to provide you with confidence, to fill you with confidence. When we change the mindset of making it feel like that it's a must in the must, that we seem resentful for doing it, and we say we get a chance, I get to, you're not only strengthening your parenting strategies, but you are showing your teen that you are so involved, much more than the basic feeding, clothing, education, etc.
Got
Right?
it.
The the adding of core values is mandatory. And this is where we are lacking in our homes. We are not giving the opportunities of being responsible, being accountable to our teens.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. And I'm sure that the parents who are listening are gleaning because you're really taking a moment to share it in a way that is practical, that they could start
Mhm.
doing as soon as this stream is over. So I do want to take some time and chat with you about how teen confidence is reflected, because I'm imagining some moms and dads are probably looking at the show right now and they're trying to figure out, is my child confident? I'm not sure. How do we mark confidence? Is confidence that he just talk plenty? Is lack of confidence because or she's really quiet, so she's not confident? Can you share with parents how teen confidence is reflected? So even as parents sort of do a bit of self-check, home check, teen check, child check, that they could figure where their child is and where they're at with this confidence building, so they could now decide
Mhm.
where to go from there. How is teen confidence reflected?
Right. So because confidence is it varies, we are going to start to look on the physical side at first. Do you find that your child is mostly sad? Do you have moments where your teen may just want to be by themselves a little extra, a little longer than average? Do you hear the conversations about themselves? So, for example, they're going to school, right? They're going to a new school, and one of the things that they would mention said, "Who? I don't want to go to new school. Why is that? I don't want to make new friends. Why is that? I don't know how to make friends." So, by observing and monitoring your teen, you will have an idea of where the confidence lies or where it doesn't lie. Now, remember, you cannot be confident in all the areas. So they may be very shy, they may lack some social skills. However, they may be at home or with their friends or with family, they may be very boisterous. So we will need to work on, okay, well, when you go to school, let's see what's the difference. How can we make you open up more to know who you are? So look at little tips like that. Also, let's check their mental and emotional state. What is their language? Ask them, what do you think about yourself? How do you see yourself? Give me one word to describe who you are. And by listening to their conversation, you can have a rough idea if your child lacks confidence or even lacks self-esteem.
Yeah, you're quite right. Because I'm listening to you and I'm thinking that communication definitely is going to play a huge role in there. Because, of course, parents must not only speak this, teach this, encourage a conversation, but too, it makes it so much easier when
Mhm.
parents are able to demonstrate it even in their relationships with their kids. Now, for parents who may be wondering, is it really that much of a big deal? What can you share? What would be the downfalls associated with a teen who is not confident?
Yes, very sadly, if your teen is not confident, one, I say we rob them of a life that they can really experience their best wishes. When a child is not confident, they are most likely to follow rather than lead. They're more likely to be easily persuaded. They would lack decision making. What should I say? Decision making tools. They would always be in the shadow, right? They will never be that light and live on purpose as they're intended to be. Not having confidence is very risky not to have, especially in this day and time where our teens now are growing very differently. When we were young, Alina, and when we were teens, we didn't have one thing that these teens have right now, which is options. They have a lot of options, they have a lot of choice. So it'll be easy for them to follow someone else's choice rather than to find who they are. And how do they find who they are? Is that we need to expose them to situations and experiences that are going to set them afire, that are going to get them excited, that is going to get them hungry for life. So Having confidence is an absolutely number one thing that your teen needs to have a life that they deserve, growing with responsibility and accountability.
Got it. So even as parents listen to this conversation, Janelle, if you were to say these are the three things or these are the five things that parents can do to build confidence, could you share with us and with the parents out there, how can parents build teen confidence? What are those things to do and say that even for the parent that may be feeling overwhelmed or think I'm busy or this is too much emotionally to handle, that maybe they could make a checklist and say, I'm going to do a rotation and make sure I include these things in my daily interaction with my child. What would those couple things be?
Absolutely. One, let us praise the effort rather than the outcome. Look, they're going to make mistakes, they're going to get things wrong, but we focus on the outcome so many times that if it doesn't come out right or it doesn't come out the way that we want, we shout, we yell, we may say things that we may regret. So let's change the focus from not the outcome, but the effort. What effort did your teen put into it? Okay, they brought home a grade C. Did you really see them study, work hard, apply themselves, create a schedule, put things in place, sacrifice some stuff to get the C? Did you see that? And if we saw that, then let's praise the effort. That's the number one tool. I want us to understand and really appreciate how effective just this one tip that you can start using today. They didn't wash the way as well. They didn't wash the clothes good. Appreciate the effort. And in correcting the what may have gone wrong, we are showing them, okay, this is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to start. So praise the effort, not the outcome. And two, start with something good.
Yeah.
You know, we as parents, we worry and we always worry for the worst. And that's okay. I get it because we live in a society that is very ugly at times. And we always want to protect and shelter our teens. Who doesn't? But at the end of the day, life is going to get us and they're going to get your teen anyway. So we have to give them the right skills. We have to prove them and pour into them the correct mindset so that they can be resilient. So the second step is pour into your teen. Consistently tell them about their value, their worth, right? Don't diminish or mock how they may feel about something that is very simple to us. And the only reason it's simple to us is because we are adults. So our priorities have changed. So we're not studying who's on social media, or we're not studying, our friend that may have probably said something or two. We are studying bigger stuff. But our teens, that's not their focus, as I said earlier. So we have to not devalidate them. We need to listen and to understand, okay, I could see how you feel like that. And when we do those three things, we open a channel of what we call communicating effectively. We are starting to create a bond. We're starting to build a relationship. Because when you get your teen to open up to you, then you get to know what's really going on in their mind and their hearts.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. I totally understand. And it is true. We do have to find those ways to reach them, pour into them. And sometimes it may feel challenging because as parents, we have so much on our plates between the juggling the jobs, going to the PTA meeting, dealing with the school, dealing with washing the clothes. And now I have to figure out how do I pour into you when sometimes we feel empty. We get it. It's a lot. But just as we invest in other things, we must invest in our children and we must pour into our kids so that we would be able to see the results of that in that confident teen and how they display all this. So even now, we definitely want to get into some Q&A, Janelle, because you have some questions that would
Sure.
have been coming in, yeah? So
Absolutely.
the first question that we have says, how do I bridge the generational gap when there is a big difference in the things that gave me confidence? So I'm guessing this parent is saying, hey, what gave me confidence seems to be very different and it's not working for my teen. And I don't
Yeah.
know what to do. So, how do I bridge that gap so that I could have a point of reference to be able to support my teen in becoming confident?
Absolutely. And I get this question similar to in many ways, because a lot of our parenting comes from our parents and our parents before and our parents before. And they're like, bring back the old time ways. Now, we know how the old time ways was, right? And we will say, well, it didn't do us anything wrong. We look how we grew up. And I get that. And I agree partially in the sense of I want to remain knowing that I want to keep the values that was taught. That's the key, is to keep the values. So we changing the way that we parent, right? But we keeping the same values. When we
Yes,
keep the same values and we modernize it, right? Because now to have that communication with your team, you have to understand one, the emotional change, the physical change, the spiritual change, the whole change of your team. We didn't have all that when we were growing up. It was you as a child till you get your own key and your own lock,
that's
right?
right. Yeah,
Now that we still keeping the values that we were taught, we're not getting rid of that. We are just changing it to suit this generation here that we have, because their life, it's different. Their
yeah,
surroundings is different. The conversations are different. The environment. I told you the one major tool that we didn't have that they have now, it's the
options.
www.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh,
So I'm
yes.
telling you, they go tap, 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 and Google becomes their parents.
At their fingertips. Yeah.
So we're keeping the values, but we just learning new parenting strategies, new parenting tips so that we can bridge that gap to our teens that we have in this era.
I love that because it reminds me of an earlier episode that we had in the within the Caribbean parenting show where the facilitator was sharing with us that it's important to have that mission statement as a family. It's important to establish your values as a family unit. And here it is now,
Mhm.
you are joining in on that, reminding us that the
Mhm.
values are important, that it's not always about harping on the method, but rather we want to harp on the values. So even as we change the method, we could get the same good result. Awesome. So our next
Absolutely.
question, Janelle, says, is there something as too much confidence? How do I deal with a teenager who is very open about themselves?
Right. So too much confidence is what I would call being cocky. Right. And when we're being cocky, that means that it is a cover up. Right? It's they only confident in front of people where they're the spotlight, where they're being asked to do something, and it's a cover up of who they really are. So they would, for example, it will always be the child who want to do the first thing, right? That will say something or do something that will always want to catch your attention, right? And it says, how do you deal with a teenager who's very open about themselves? Is that they feel that the more that they talk about themselves, people would like them and accept them. And if they're known as the class clown, people will always tend to gravitate. But below all of that, we still need to address it.
Yeah.
Because to know who you are, you don't have to define, defend, or explain yourself to anyone. You should be
Yes.
able to walk in the room and the room lights up. And if anybody else has a problem with that, you give them shades, as I would say, because my light is obviously too bright for you,
Yeah.
right? So the too much confidence, we call it cocky, but the correct word is arrogance, right? So
Yeah.
we still need to address that because it's a face, it's a mask.
Got it. So we have another question from a parent. How do I encourage my teenager to be confident about themselves when they're faced with peer pressure?
Okay, so this is where the values come in. This is where we will see when you train your child, they will not depart from it. I know it's very difficult when you're in a group and everybody's like, rah, rah, yes, yes, do it. And you're like, oh, I don't think that's for me. How do I get out of that situation? I'm confident. I know who I am. I know if my mama knows that I'm going to do this, I'm not going to have the same color skin,
Yeah.
but I need also, I don't want my friends and them to think I's a chicken, right? So
Yeah.
how do I get out of this? So I give my teens three very simple basic tips. One, blame mama. Boy, if my mother only catch me doing this, I
Yes.
dead. I had to
Hmm.
go.
Yeah.
Once you blame mommy, all your friends and them saying
Yes.
true, especially if they know your mother have a twitch and a mad spell, then going true.
Oh, yes.
We don't want Auntie Lena to come for me. So boy, go.
Yes. Yes.
Blame your mama. Two,
Mm-hmm.
lie.
Mm.
Lie. All of a sudden, pick up your phone. Hey, somebody just called me, boy. I had to go.
Mm.
Lie. Make an excuse. I had to go in the toilet. Miss now calling me. Oh, I have class or have football lessons. And out.
Make an excuse.
Make excuse. So now the team does not feel, well, my friend's gonna laugh at me or think that I'm a chicken or but I know I'm not supposed to be doing this. If all you want to go ahead and do it, you all can go ahead. But I now need to find a way to get out. So the third way is say no. And I
Right.
know that saying no is tough,
A
right?
lot. Yeah.
But when we teach out, this is where the core value is, because you have to teach your team to say no, because peer pressure is just one of the brackets that they say no to. When we teach them to say no, and we teach them with all authority that no means no and yes means yes, and your no does not need to be validated. So it's not no but or no maybe or no I'm not sure. It's no.
Yeah.
They will have practice in being comfortable in saying no.
Yes, 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 definitely. And of course, a final question that we have submitted asks, how do I encourage my teen to be confident when I am not totally confident myself?
Well, mommy, daddy, we have to work on yourself.
Yeah.
You are your teen's mirror. One of the things that my teens tell me, the number one person they hate to disappoint is the parents.
Yeah.
So they're looking at you. And if you're not confident, then they will not be confident.
That's right.
So when we get really angry and we yell and we shout at our teen, there's a part of us that says to ourselves, wow, my son, my daughter is growing up just like I am.
Well,
And
yeah.
that is what gets me mad. That is what makes
Mm.
me angry, because I'm seeing myself. So in order for you to change what you see on the outside, we have to change what we have and think about ourselves on the inside. It's hard,
Yes.
it's difficult,
Yeah.
but not overnight, right? I always say there's no elevator to parenting teens. It's stairs. And each
Yeah.
level, each step,
Yes.
it's something new. So you may be a parent that has a teen who's moody, but then on the other side, she's very confident and very loud,
Yeah.
but she's moody when she's ready. So you're
Yeah.
gonna have those
Ups
ups
and
and downs
downs. Yeah.
with your teen, that you need to understand, okay, she's confident here, not confident here. But to get your teen to be confident, you have to be that picture. You have to be that confidence, even though you're scared. Because guess what you're feeling, that's what they're feeling.
Yeah.
But it's unfair for us to ask our teen to be confident and to have confidence when deep inside of us we know we're close to that.
Definitely. Totally understand. So, moms and dads, I hope you all have been taking notes. But the good news is it is a digital show, which means that you can, if you're watching on the replay, and if even if you're watching live, hey, watch it again on the replay, press pause, take your notes, write your bullet points down, create a little checklist, because Genielle is dropping gems here on the Caribbean Parenting Show today, and it's definitely going to revolutionize the way that you work with your teens and the way you're able to support. So, of course, even in this moment, Genielle, I would like for you to take a moment to share with our audience about Inspire Teens, what Inspire Teens is all about, and how you work through Inspire Teens to bring support to teens and parents.
Absolutely. Well, I created my company in 2018, right? I always had a passion for women and for children. But as life went on, I had a lot of doubts and a lot of fears whether I would be the right fit, the right person, you know. And I assumed that everybody knew what I knew parenting. I have four young ladies. And in my quest of really finding out what it is I wanted to do, one of my major complaints I kept hearing from moms with teens especially is how unhappy they were and how much they struggled to, to provide, and they felt like a bad mom, and they felt like they failed, and they were worrying all the time about where their teen will end up. And I thought, wow, I have the strategy for this. And unfortunately, in 2018, the 12th of December, my husband died. And prior to that, he had said to me, Genielle, I want you to really take Inspire Teens to the next level. That I want you to teach them how to become a man, how to be a father, and how to be responsible. So I decided to fulfill not only his quest, but my quest, my purpose, and really
Yes.
focused on parenting teens.
Got it.
And my Inspire Teens is to ensure that our parents know that they are not a bad parent. They may have done mistakes or got things wrong. Your teen's behavior is not a reflection on who you are as a parent.
Yeah.
The teen through their own transformation from a teen to young, and it can reflect onto us that we're just not getting it. Create parenting tips that can help parents like yourself who are listening that have struggles, that their teen is moody, that their teen, is rude, that they lack confidence, that they lack social skills, that they easily into peer pressure, right? And you know that you have done everything you can as a parent to provide not just
Yes.
basic needs, but much over. You
Yes.
know that you will do anything it takes to make sure your teen has the possible chance of growing into the adult, especially when you didn't have that life as a teen. That's the most important thing. So what we have created within Inspire Teens is something that we call cracking the teen code. And in cracking the teen code, it basically is a five codes that you can communicate effectively with your teen while improving your relationship, which is the key to getting your young adult the better chance of becoming responsible and accountable.
Yes. Got it. So, Janelle, how can parents get in touch with Inspire Teens?
Okay, well, I'm on Facebook under Inspire Teens.
Yeah.
You can like and follow the page. And
Mhm.
also, you can be on my website, which is www.janelleinspireteens.com. And on there, I have a communication toolbox
Yeah.
that comes in very handy because there is 5 tried and tested practices that we use, that I've used with parents, with teens on my campus, that are going to
Yes.
give you the 5 tips to help you communicate effectively and build a relationship with your teen. So you can
Great.
download that there for free.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm so happy that you came to share with us about communication and how parents can really communicate. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
in our program this evening. Yes, and moms, dads, aunties, uncles, thank you for taking time. Thank you as always. We appreciate you taking time out to join us every Wednesday and Sunday and tuning in to the Caribbean Parenting Digital Show. As you know, we're streaming bi-weekly and we look forward to having you join us and continue to join us every Wednesday and Sunday as we share and have conversations about topics that impact and support effective parenting. If you've been with us before, we hope you've clicked on that notification bell. Hey, hey, hey. But if you are new to our channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with others. So until next time, we thank you for joining the Caribbean Parenting Digital Show.